Do you know anyone younger than 35 who became a pilot at age 17 and now flies corporate jets? This episode is about exactly that kind of person. He is Cory Schow, a pilot with big ideas and a new vlog series. If you are into planes and curious about living life in the skies, I think you will really enjoy this episode. I want to have Cory back another time to talk his best pilot stories and get an update on the vlog, which now has its first episode on YouTube. All this and more on episode 48 of perhaps the only podcast that strongly believes that you, the listener, are
gorgeous, baby. You're gorgeous.
This is the Josh Podcast Show. The anti-podcast podcast on God and man. The show that everybody's talking about. The show that will become a necessary part of your weekly mental diet. The show that picks up where JoshRolfe.com leaves off. The show title that uses the word podcast 4 times. Introducing your host, Josh Rolfe.
All right, here he is, Cory Schow. Cory, welcome to the show. Glad you're here.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
No, this is awesome. I've wanted to have you on actually for a long time, and I've kind of lied on here before. I've said, yeah, I'll talk to anybody. Like if anyone wants to be on my show, just come on board. I'll talk to you. But really, it's not true. And I've proved that, I think, over the last 2 years by being highly selective about who I have on the show. So you, Cory, are in that elite bunch. Can you believe the
Josh
I'm
lucky guy, man.
podcast show?
I'm on the map.
I'm thrilled you're available because you have a busy job. You have the kind of job. See, if I wanted to at my job, I could disconnect for a while and just like appear on someone's random podcast. But you're kind of limited with your career. So you're a pilot. That's the main profession. And where are you tonight? It's a Friday night. Where are you?
Friday night at this moment, I am in the Marriott Hotel at the San Francisco International Airport.
Whoa.
Right.
And maybe give me some of your background. Tell us how you got.
Right. Well, I started about 15 years ago, went through Utah State University's flight program, great flight program. Did all my ratings and training there. I flight instructed for a little bit to build some hours and was lucky enough to get on flying a private jet for a company out of Salt Lake City, Utah. I did that for about 5 or 6 years with them. Flew different aircraft from single engine, the TBM 850, Citation, Phenom, Falcon, and then the airplane I'm currently on, a Challenger 300, and left them about 7-8 months ago. And now I'm out of Columbus, Ohio, flying the Challenger 300 as a captain for a company out there. And it's been great. Moved the family out there. We love Columbus. Definitely miss Utah, but that's how I got where I am.
Wow. So life in the air, like give us a sense of the other night we were hanging out with another family and I had the guy there. I've known him for a few years and he said, so tell me what you do, Josh. Like what's your job? And are you still with the same place? And no one really gets what I do in government relations. And then like, we switch topics a few times and then we go back to, so Josh, tell me what do you do? What did you do today? Like, what do you do? Because they just can't it's really hard for them. But a pilot, you think, okay, yeah, you're like this amazingly skilled, focused person, intelligent, usually like a fit person. Pilots, you don't see like frumpy pilots, like these are pretty fit people, most often men. And you spend your life flying around this gigantic piece of metal. And what a testosterone type of career. Like, I can't imagine what it's like taking off. So
it's great.
maybe give
It's
me
great.
a sense of that. Like, you're just the day-to-day job for you.
Well, your story, hanging out with your friend reminded me of like a joke. Like, how do you know you met a pilot at a party? The answer is he'll tell you. We love to talk about it. We love to let people know what we do. It's a great career, day in, day out. It kind of follows a pattern, but every day is different. I can't say I've had 2 days that are exactly the same. It starts, you talk about being fit. A lot of times you get a lot of extra time in the hotel. So you try and get a workout in, get a run or a lift or whatever. And then you're out at the airport and, typically, the day before, so kind of where you're going. You have your flight plans all filed, which you do all over the internet now. And lets air traffic control coordinate where you're going. And, you check your airplane, you make sure your airplane is what we call airworthy, ready to go. Everything's working. All your systems are in check. And then, you get it ready to go. You wait for your passengers and, you check in your weather, making sure that, their catering's on board. It's a little different on my side of the things as a private, flying on the private jets.
Yeah. Tell me the size. What's the size of that airline or airplane?
The airplane will weigh, 39,000 pounds, with seat 10 in the back. So they call it the super midsize. Sounds like a meal or something. Right. Yeah.
And are these the cush leather seats, like beautiful, ornate type of a thing? You're not flying around the Josh Rolfs of the world.
These are, you've got, the nice leather seats, the exquisite interiors. It's a lot of cleaning, polishing, making sure the airplane looks good too. These people are paying, buco bucks to, fly in the back. And so you want everything, you want to give them that extra service treatment. We don't typically have a flight attendant that prepares the cabin for us. So that's kind of on us. We, vacuum a lot. And,
really?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We got to make sure that all falls on our heads. So.
Wow. And there's 3 of you or 2 in the cockpit?
We have 2.
2 of you.
Yeah.
And are you flying, is your jet owned by one company or one person or one, is it execs from all the same company?
Right.
Or who are you flying, or are these all random people every day?
Well, we have, my jet is owned by the actual company, and the owner of the company will occasionally go on our airplane and, I guess, his airplane and, fly where he needs to go with his family or for business or what have you. Other than that, though, the airplane's used for charter. So basically think of Uber in the skies. You call us and say, hey, we need a jet to go from Chicago to Dallas. And, maybe they don't have their own jet because a lot of people, don't want to have the extra expense of paying all the maintenance costs. They just want to pay for the jet when they use it. And maybe they don't use it a whole lot, but they like to have that around. So they call us and, we'll basically, like an Uber, show up and take people down and wait for the next trip out of wherever we're at. Sometimes we reposition empty to get, where we need to go. So if there's no trips out of Dallas, we may reposition down to Houston and pick someone up and take them to Fort Lauderdale or something like that.
And how much are these people paying for each seat? Does it vary or?
Well, you're paying by the flight hour. So, you can, it's one flat rate, whether it's one person or all 10 seats are full. That you're looking, it's a lot of money. I don't know if they'll let me say, but it's, you're looking probably around anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 a flight hour on a charter.
Wow. And are you cruising along a little, I guess your planes are a little slower than the big airlines? Like they're going at about 550 ground miles per hour?
Yeah, we're actually,
or are you guys on par with that?
we're on par with that. We're actually just as fast. In fact, a lot of times we're cruising at a faster speed than some of the bigger airplanes. Well, they're trying to
Really?
save fuel. They'll fly at a slower speed, and we kind of cruise
Ah,
along.
wow.
Yeah.
So what's the fastest you've gone?
The fastest I've gone was we were doing 600 knots over the ground, which and that we had a nice tailwind there, and that was kind of pushing us. But 600 knots is just under 700 miles an hour.
Wow.
So we were cruising. That
You're
was a
cruising.
lot of fun.
And how high up are you?
For our
Usually.
airplane, we go higher than the typical
Do you?
airliner. Yeah, we're cruising around. Usually 41,000 feet. In fact, today we came out here at 43,000 feet to get us above some weather.
Wow.
So that's kind of a nice benefit that we have is a lot of times we can, it makes it easier to avoid weather and makes it a little safer.
So, and I think the highest I've been on a commercial flight is maybe 38,000,
Yeah.
35, 38. Most are kind of in that 31 to 35 range, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
common.
are there lanes? Because you look at the back of the catalog on a commercial flight and they have, all the lines, the curved lines, and it looks like you're going around, going way outside. It looks like they're trying to milk you for all you're worth but then you realize the Earth is round and not like the rectangle map that you're looking at. So they are going the most direct route. But are there lanes up there in the skies?
There are, yeah. We call it, well, there's a high level route and then there's like the low level. The low level route, we call them the Victor Airways, and the high level routes are the jetways, or the jet routes.
Huh.
And now, you may file a certain jet route, and a lot of times they do that and they want you to stay kind of on it. It's, point to point, kind of waypoint to waypoint, and you'll fly between those on those routes. A lot of times though nowadays, with, like you said, with GPS and the advancement of different navigation systems, you could take off and fly to a point directly 1,000 miles away instead of have to follow along the jet route. So it saves you a lot of time if you're able to do that.
Huh. Fascinating. So tell me when you're up there, like you're up there and where I'm in a plane looking out my left window, or if I'm sitting on the right side of the plane, I'm looking out the right window and I'm kind of discerning, okay, I think we're in Nevada now. Yeah, I think this is Colorado, and now they have the screens or even on my app, I can follow along where we are and the temperature outside and all that. I love it because I want information. I'm one of those pilots. When I'm in the dentist chair, I want to know what he's doing to my teeth. Same thing on a plane, but I love the plane. I love being up there. There's something so just beautiful about being above the clouds. From your vantage point, it's very different, right?
It is. Oh, completely different.
You're seeing almost a 180 view?
Right. Well, yeah, even more than that. I mean, because you can look back and see the wingtip. So we have, it's almost a 270 degree view up there. It's you're looking, you could look back and all around and it's amazing. You can spot out the big cities. It's easy to tell, generally where you are as long as it's not too cloudy and it's a different viewpoint up front. I have to commute a little bit on the airlines occasionally, and it's just not the same ride in the back. I love when I can be up front and see and kind of know where you are. It's great.
I think it's amazing. One thing I've wondered when I'm up there, and you've answered this for me before when I sent you that list of questions a while back about the pilot's vantage point. When you're looking off to the horizon and you're 40,000 feet up, how far away can you see? Are you aware of that? Do you know And how do you figure? Are you up like what's the job on the ground for the roads? They're the surveyors. Are you a survey? Do you have like the little scale up there? How do you know where you are and how far you're seeing in your perspective?
The furthest I've been able to see, and I only know this is because I could see where the city lights were, and I knew where we were, and I could look on our map and see how far away we were. I saw about 300 miles outside of Denver. It was night, it was clear, and I could see the city lights, off in the distance. So that's pretty far. Typically, because you get a lot of haze and kind of some, pollution up there, whatever, and you're looking maybe more the 150 to 200 mile range is probably more common for about what you can actually see and discern on a normal day, though. But I mean, that's pretty far. When you're up at 40,000 feet and it's mostly clear. Yeah.
How high up do you have to be to see the curve of the earth? Is that like, I think that's 10 miles up, maybe 50,000, 55.
I've some Learjets will go up to 50,000 feet. The highest I've ever been is 45, and you can kind of start to see it a little bit at 45. Really? I've heard though, 50,000 feet. Some Learjet pilots, they say it's pretty. You think 40,000 feet is a great view. Wait till you get to 50,000, and the sky just kind of starts to look black. It gets that little dark or real dark blue.
Oh my gosh!
Pretty amazing view up there.
Wow. Like you're ready to
right.
to launch out of the atmosphere. Yep. Yeah. Amazing. Do you see, is the technology going to improve in our lifetimes? I mean, it's kind of interesting the strides that were made from the Wright brothers early, 1903, was it? 2, 3? Kitty Hawk until World War I, and they're starting to fly around, and then World War II, where 4 decades later they're dropping nuclear or atomic bombs from the sky, to the breaking the sound barrier, to jets, and now satellites, rockets, all that, and you've got Elon Musk, others trying to get us past the moon to Mars. So you've got these great strides in rocketry, but on commercial flights, it seems like the technology is not really improving. Maybe more so on the computer software side, but data. But do you see things improving?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a great assessment. I think it was very exponential growth there from the start, through the, like you said, through the 40s, kind of to where we are now. Now, where you're seeing that, and where you're seeing a lot of the technologies is in fuel efficiency, how to make, the jets more fuel efficient, how to improve cabin altitudes. Jet lag is a huge issue for frequent flyers in general, but especially people that are crossing back and forth quite a bit.
Cabin altitudes.
Right. Yeah. So you're seeing, the Dreamliner, the new Boeing 787. They found ways to try and reduce, the effects of jet lag on, passengers. You're seeing advancements in those areas. You haven't seen
how does that affect jet lag? I think of jet lag as you're on the ground and you're feeling a little groggy.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, you've been at high altitudes before, and one of the effects of high altitudes is there's just less oxygen. So if we're cruising around at cabin altitude of 7,500 feet on a 5-6 hour flight,
wait. So you're 40,000 feet up, but your cabin altitude is as if you were on top of Half Dome in Yosemite.
Right. Yeah. Yes. 7,500 foot.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah. And so a lot of people don't really realize that. That's one thing I didn't really understand until I got into aviation. And so, now they're trying to reduce those and bring those down. So, your body just feels better. I mean, I was in Aspen for a couple of days a month ago, that was, 8,000 feet altitude there. And it wears on you. So if you can reduce that, keep more oxygen in the body, it makes you feel a little better for a longer period of time. So you're seeing advancements that way. And that's, you haven't seen a whole lot as far as speeds go. I mean, some of your private jets are getting faster and more fuel efficient. Altitudes have kind of stayed, about the same, but I totally, expect that we'll see speeds and altitudes continue to increase, and we'll find the, fastest, most efficient way to transport people.
And are there training requirements for you to keep up? Like a lawyer has to take continuing education, doctors, do you have to keep up with that, get a certain amount of hours in some kind of school or training?
Absolutely. Yeah. Every year as a captain, you have actually every 6 months, we go into a simulator and we spend usually, anywhere from 2 to 3 days on the ground and review aircraft systems and emergency procedures. And then we spend a couple days in the simulator, and we actually have a check ride that we have to pass, to a certain standard every 6 months. And that's a little nerve-wracking at times.
Yeah.
Just to know that, hey, if you don't pass, it doesn't look good, and you got to do everything. You can't. It's not like it's graded. You can't pass with a B. I mean, you have to hit every standard, every checkpoint. That's the same for any captain on any airplane or any jet. So that's we do that every 6 months.
On the ground training, right now in the military, there are lots of guys flying drones overseas for intelligence purposes, military purposes. Will there be a time when you are on the ground flying your 10 passenger jet, or do you think as long as people are in the aircraft, they will want a human pilot?
Let me say this. I think it will be completely, in fact, it's possible now that you could fly an airplane sitting in some box on the ground and transport people. I have no doubt that technology we would be capable of that now. Would I ever fly in the back of an airplane without 2 pilots up front? The answer is no, never. I will, as long as I'm a passenger on an airplane, I want 2 pilots up front, flying that airplane.
Yeah.
Other people may feel differently. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah. I imagine one little thing like the cameras break, you can't see, and sure, that's, there's instrument only flight, which I'm sure totally able to do. Well, of course you are. But that camera breaks and you're on the ground and you can't see, you don't have that same perspective. And so you're not able to, do as well as if you were actually on board. Right.
Yeah. There'd just be too much that could go wrong that you would want to make sure that, hey, because those pilots are on the airplane too, they're doing, you want to make sure, I would almost think, and this wouldn't be true for most pilots, but what if the guy's like, hey, I don't care that I'm not on that airplane. I don't care if it goes down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a liability thing there too. So
yeah. Does that come up, the terrorism side? I'm sure you guys talk about it, the crazy dudes who are pointing jets the nose straight down and taking everyone with them. Does that create some distrust among pilots, or like being really much more careful about screening folks, or, making sure the guy sitting next to you isn't suddenly talking about, how great it would be to join a different reality, or
right? Oh yeah, no, definitely. It's becoming a big issue. It's a hot topic right now, actually. We have our own security measures that we follow, even with passengers that are the high rollers, I guess, if you will. But mental health is becoming a big issue for pilots. And it's something that, I mean, it's becoming a big issue everywhere, but, especially for pilots. I mean, you heard about that crash over in Europe, a couple of years ago where the pilot, locked himself in the cockpit and crashed the aircraft. And so, there's that is becoming a growing concern here, and evaluating that and figuring out the best way. And I don't think they've really come to any conclusions. We do have to have a medical exam every 6 months to 1 year. But there's no real mental health evaluation in place yet. But I suspect that will be coming here in the near future.
Yep, let's do that. Let's definitely do that.
Yeah, I am on board with that.
I don't want to get super morbid here, but one of my worst list of worst ways to die. There are several, but one is falling from the sky to my death. Can you? So one thing that kind of eased my death concerns once was, those knockout guys that were like on the street, that were like punching people, random people on the street, knocking them out.
Yeah.
And watching the videos of that, they were just like totally out cold.
Yeah.
As soon as they were hit. And I thought maybe that's a kind of a God built-in blessing that, if you're in like a sudden impact situation, you're pretty much gone and don't recognize what's going on anyway.
Right.
And would the same thing happen in a plane? This is my extremely morbid thought. In a plane, when you're 35,000 feet up and you start to just fall from the sky, I would imagine 10,000 feet down, you would pass out.
Well, it would depend on what was happening with the cabin. If you lost your cabin pressurization, your time of useful consciousness up there at 35,000 feet is just, but seconds. You don't have a whole lot of time to put on that oxygen mask and really think about. And that's if you have a big, we call it rapid decompression, where the cabin goes from kind of its normal setting to, hey, it's like you're breathing in 35,000 feet of air, which, that would cause you to pass out rather quickly if you didn't put the oxygen on. So,
okay.
Now, but if you just started, if the airplane lost its engines and you just started to fall, well, there's safety measures put in the airplane that would prevent the altitude in the cabin from becoming unsafe. And, as long as you didn't lose a wing and you were still flying, you'd be okay. And if you lost a wing, you might have other issues, and it would depend on whether or not you would pass out, honestly.
Yeah, well, if you lost a wing, then you're probably twirling, right? You're spinning.
Right, yeah.
Twirling. Spinning is probably the better word.
And because of those safety measures to protect the cabin pressurization, you may not pass out, and that would be terrifying. So
yeah,
that is kind of morbid.
Yeah, I might cut this part out. So, but that is one fear of mine, and one of several. But yeah, that's just. It's got to cross your mind at times, like whoa, there's nothing around me. Like, this is, everything's so fragile up there, but yet it's so safe. How is that planes are such a safe mode of travel when compared to driving? And you're up there in thunderstorms and really brutal, unforgiving stuff. Like, how is it so safe?
Well, a lot of the safety in aviation comes from things that used to not be safe in aviation. And so they've kind of learned and they've evolved, just in like any other normal evolution. They've learned how to make systems redundant. They've learned how to make structures that can withstand, the severe turbulence that you may encounter. You should see, anyone wants to search YouTube, you can check out, a strength test on a wing, and you should see how much that wing can actually bend before it snaps in half. It's all technology and learning from past mistakes and air system redundancy. It's just learning from the past, really, and finding new ways. There's a lot of smart people out there
Yeah.
that know how to keep us
That is good to know about the stress test on the wing, because
Right.
that's been another thought of mine. And I always have this vision of me like somehow I'm mid-flight, I'm somehow transported to the wing, just holding on with my hands,
right.
just kind of hoping for the best. I know that would be another goodbye moment. I'd be in free fall at that point.
Right.
That wouldn't last long, but yeah, I'm just weird, I guess. So you are not only a pilot, but you have a creative streak in you, and a interest in sharing your job, sharing your talents with the world. And so I am very pleased that you're on the very week that the new website that all of you listening can go to. It's CaptainCory.tv. So that's Captain, all spelled out, CORY.tv. And that will take you directly to Cory's YouTube channel. And right now there's not a video on it, but one's coming very soon. Is that right? So this show will publish on Tuesday. Will there be a video by then?
There will be, yes.
Woo!
I just, I kind of had this inspiration really a couple weeks ago, and this week I was on vacation kind of the week before that. I was like, I'm going to do this, and then I've been filming all week, and basically it's going to be a video log for those that want to tune in, and I'm going to take you inside the life of what we do as a corporate pilot, someone that flies the private jets, and show you the hotels and the restaurants and the fun stuff we get to do, some takeoffs and landings and the ins and outs of preparing for a day. It's really excited about it, and I'm going to be editing all weekend and have a couple episodes up there next week.
I love it. Well, can't wait to see the first one. We'll definitely plug it. So this is your first long commercial. This is like a long commercial for Cory, CaptainCory.tv.
I was going to say, my vision behind it is I want to show people that are maybe, kind of the 13 to 18-year-old range, but also those that have just always had a curiosity. What does a pilot do? What is it like on the ins and outs? Inspire those that maybe want to be a pilot to, continue their dream and overcome any obstacles they may have. But also the entertainment factor and just kind of see some cool footage. So
I love it.
Yep.
Well, I'm definitely in that crowd, the 18 to 40 crowd that you just mentioned.
Yep.
I have aspirations to fly. I always have. And for me, it's been I obviously chose a different career path, but I want to fly a small plane, a hobby, as a hobby one of these days. So I've looked into lessons. They're so darn expensive.
Yeah.
But so I'll be watching along with everyone else and learning, and so look forward to it. That'll be great.
Yeah, it's great.
So you are, how do we reach you? You're at Capt Cory Media on Twitter. Is that right?
That's the Twitter handle. Yep.
So CaptCory Media. You're also there on Instagram with the same handle, as well as Snapchat. I don't think I've seen any of your Snapchat videos yet. What's your Snapchat?
It's the same handle on Snapchat.
Okay, very good.
Are we not Snapchat friends, Josh? Do we need to fix that?
I think we need to fix that.
That's a great platform right now.
I've been bragging. I have a coworker who's a millennial, very into Snapchat, who has tens of thousands of points or whatever it is, that number. Like I was asking people,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what's that number mean? Because for the longest time it was 0. I was like, why am I a 0? Oh yeah, it's because I've never done anything on Snapchat. But then I finally did it. And I started doing little stupid videos, and now I'm at a whopping 70 something points.
Hey man, that's growth.
So that's major growth. But it's mainly because I have like 2 people that actually follow me. So
I'll find you on there after this is done.
yeah,
for sure.
Josh Rolfe to find me on Snapchat. And every now and then you will get a Snapchat gift through a Josh Rolfe video. But yeah, look forward to checking you out on there.
Yep.
And so tell anything else, anything. I know you've got other projects up your sleeve. It seems like you moved to Columbus and you're doing, you got a drone, you're doing cool stuff there. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. It kind of started, I had some time off, I get a week off every couple weeks, and I was going nuts at home. Kind of, it's like, I gotta stay busy. And we were sitting around a campfire with some friends, and one of my friends was like, "Hey, you should buy a drone and do real estate videos." And it clicked, like a light went off, like that was it. And I'd actually been looking at drones like the week before, and I was like, "That's I'm gonna get one of those." So I went out, convinced my wife, bless her heart, she's great, very supportive.
Yeah.
Let me buy a drone. Started looking into it, set up the business, Captain Cory Media. And talked to some real estate friends, and they said, "Oh yeah, there's definitely a market for it." And so I've been practicing on some homes, shooting some videos, and I'm going to get into the real estate photography business, doing that on the side when I'm home. And it's amazing what a drone shot can do to a home. It just kind of brings it to life. So any realtors out there looking to kind of go next level and make that listing just look a little bit better, come find me or find some local photographer that'll do it for you. Cause it's amazing how much kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It just kind of brings that listing, like I said, to the next level. So,
yeah. Cause I mean, right now it's Google Maps.
Right.
And the street view, and then those goofy shots from inside the home that are these like large angled kind of warped shots that make the house look a ton better than they are. But getting a drone, I would think you have like an actual view from a lot of different angles and perspectives from the outside of the home, and that should be sweet. And then I'm picturing you like when the technology's there in 10 years, when you're able to roll down the window of the jet and toss that like jet drone out the window and get like a nice shot of the plane as you vlog live piloting. Did you get permission? I assume you did, from the owner, that you're all cool to go there?
With the
vlog.
Oh yeah, they really don't care.
That's awesome.
I mean, I don't show any passengers or any of that private information. But
that would be nice though. That if you got close to a passenger or two and were able to interview them too and get their perspective on things, that might be. You might at least. I'm. Anyone who can afford $3,000 to $5,000 a flight hour has got to have a story,
Oh,
so that would be interesting for me to, maybe throw that in every now and then. Someone who's the willing victim, which most probably would not be. They're probably very private. But
some people are pretty cool though. Some people you can strike up some interesting conversations with, and you'd be surprised. So.
So doing it for 15 years, when you started, you were like early 20s, right? Mid 20s.
I got my private license when I was 17.
Oh my gosh.
And then, I started flying jets and doing this. What was I? 9? I was 26.
Wow. So would you get comments from passengers like, "Whoa, you're young"? Because every now and then I'll get a pilot on a United flight there, and they just look so young to me. I'm like, wow, I am either getting old or they're really young.
I got that the other day. I was checking in and commuting out to where was I going? Commuting back to San Francisco or back to, I forget. And someone said, "Oh, you're a pilot? No way! You look too young." And so yeah, you get that. Makes me feel good because I'm 32 now, and I don't feel like I still look young, but I'll take it when I can get it.
Yeah. No, that's great. So San Francisco, any interesting crowd flying out of San Francisco as opposed to Omaha?
You kind of not you. These people are, I don't want to say they're all the same, but they kind of are, maybe, I guess. It's some people you're surprised, you're like, whoa, you guys are. You wonder where you look at some folks, and honestly, you kind of wonder where did they get their money? What did they do? You know what I mean? Like,
and that would be the cool story, I would think, because there've
Yeah.
got to be some amazing stories. Like, yeah, I'm really an idiot, but my dad struck it rich. He somehow invested $5 in GE in 1929, and
Right.
that's the stock market crash year, so 1933, and now we're billionaires. So,
And I've seen a couple trust fund kids on there. That's for sure. But yeah, some people, you try and Google them and you see, what they did, and that's kind of interesting. When you find them and you're like, oh, that's what they did. Interesting.
funny. Any
Yeah.
famous people that you've flown?
Yeah, I've flown.
I guess you don't
I've
fly
flown a couple.
people, but you've flown them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's been some names that if I'm kind of limited to what I can disclose, but
Yeah.
famous rock stars or politicians that folks would definitely know.
Really? Cool.
Right. Yeah. So.
Very cool. Well, super fun. I love talking to you. I'll have to have you back once you've been vlogging for a little bit. Maybe we can talk about the show and things you've
Let's do
learned,
it, yeah.
and even talking the technology you've used and what you're, as sort of if there's anyone else who's inspired by that and wants to do their own vlog. I'm one. I've looked at that, and I have a YouTube channel reserved. It would surprise no one to learn that it's called the Josh Channel Show.
Yes.
So that one, and I actually did record something. I recorded me in a grocery store, and then I'm gonna dub it with my thoughts when I'm at a grocery store. And then I saw that BuzzFeed, right after I did it, BuzzFeed did one of what a woman thinks when she's at Target. And that I was like, darn it, it's been done. But it hasn't. That was Target. This is a grocery store. That was a woman. I'm a man. So I think I have something there. So that one might be my first video that I launch on the Josh Channel Show. But look forward to seeing yours, checking that out. Anything else you'd like to say before we close out?
No, man. Hey, thanks for having me on. It's been a blast. Let's do it again. Hey, you know what? Next time when we get the jet up by your area, we'll get up. We'll combine our vlogs here. We'll have some fun.
Nice. I love that. Let's do it.
Thank you for listening to the Josh Podcast Show, the anti-podcast podcast on God and man. For more information, visit joshpodcast.com. Follow Josh on Twitter at Josh Rolfe. That's Rolfe, ROLP as in podcast, H. Now go and have the best day and night ever. And have fun.